Okay, Attack Wing fans. I have 3 new rule variants that I want to introduce. I haven't tried them out, so um, comment below if you think this isn't going to work. I'll obviously do a run through, but my first variant has to do with the critical or the damage cards, critical hit damage cards, and this rule is called your numbers up. So basically, I'm going to link a damage card uh, to, if you pull that damage card, you actually have to roll according to which damage card you get dealt. You're gonna have to roll the hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you're gonna have to roll to see if your crew member gets killed, or even your captain, or if you lose, you could lose an upgrade too, a weapon upgrade. Depends on the ship. So the way this works is there's 33 of these cards. Okay. Now I was gonna assign a number, but that was just too crazy. So I was like, no, there was too much work. You know, with the numbers, could you pick the numbers before the, have each crew have a number? And I was like, no, screw that. So what I did was, when you draw a number, okay, let's say, so you say you draw this direct hit critical card, okay. So you take this card and you read the number. This is number 12 out of 30, right? So this is number 12. Then you take your ship card, and this is the USS Enterprise Constitution class, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots. Okay, one's a weapon upgrade, one is and then the 4 are the crew upgrades. Okay, so this is actually a full ship. So the way it works is, it actually matters how you place these guys. Okay. And it's best to place them in order of, it doesn't really matter how you place them, but you can't move them throughout the game, okay? So, because this actually matters. So I'm going to actually count 12, kind of like eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So I'm going to actually count one. This is 12, right? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay? So Spock is the first crew member on that row, so he has to actually roll for his life, okay, because his number's up. That's his number. 12 is going to always be his number. I mean, there's 1 out of 33. 12 is not going to come up, but it could be another number, depending on how it counts, okay? So now, how do we resolve if Spock got killed or not, okay? Well, you look at the direct hit has 4 possible, or it has 4 identical cards in the deck at any one time, right? Unless somebody draws it already, which that could be true too. But anyway, so the way it works is this actually has a damage value since there's 4 in the deck, and it doesn't matter if one's already out. It's still, that value stays the same, okay? Because this is the power of the direct hit, okay? So direct hit is the hardest hitting. So now you take your 4 dice, okay? This is the shitty part for Spock, because you take your 4 dice and roll them just like you would at the normal attack. So now Spock has to resolve 2 hits. If he gets hit once, he's dead. Okay? And now how do you figure out his defense die, or his evade die, right? How does he evade the death? Well, you take his value number of 5, and then you take 5 evade dice, or defense dice, and if he doesn't resolve this, he's dead. So his number's up. Ready? Okay, so he lived. Look at that. Spock lives. So that direct hit just applies to the ship now. Okay, so he evaded that, and it could come up again, and it'll still be a value of 4. The way that works is, like I said, there's 4 of these in the deck, okay, and there's 3 warp core, and then the rest all have 2. So there's really only one really bad card. That's the direct hit, which makes sense because you're you're damaging. I mean, look at what it does. You direct hit, suffer 1 additional damage, and then flip this card face down. So this card could really kill your, you know, your ship got hit with a critical hit. So you could you know, get damaged again, but it just says deal additional damage, so you wouldn't flip over the critical card. But anyway, that could be really devastating. So it could kill Spock. Now you're asking yourself, well, what happens if, like, say his count was different? Let's do that right now. So what was it? 12 we said, right? Let's do 14. Say he picked this card, 14, right? So Spock's gonna go back here. We're gonna count again from the weapon upgrade. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's gonna be the third slot, so it's this Klingon guy. So Conmel, okay? Now, same thing, he'll have to roll against 4 of these dice, 4 of these attack dice, right? So let's just see if he would have lived. So we got 2 hits again. He only gets 4 defense dice because his value is only worth 4. Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know you're saying he's crossing the Federation, so he costs 5, but his value, his personal value of death doesn't care about where you came from. It cares better about your value and how valuable you are to the life. So here we go. Whoops, sorry. Alright, so he's gonna roll 4. Guess what? He just died. Look at that. See how that works? So he is done. He's toast. But like I said, his number's up. Maybe that wouldn't have been his number, you know, because like I said, Spock, if that came up with Spock's number, it would have worked. So that actually kind of works. Pretty neat. So the lower your value, like a red shirt, just like on the show, the more likely it is you're going to die when you get hit with a critical. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And obviously you're going to shuffle all these, so it's going to be random. But all you have to remember is direct hit is 4, warp core breach is 3, and the rest are just 2. So if he picked this one, let's see if he would have lived just for the hell of it. So this one is console fire, right? Its number is 4. So let's see who would have to resolve this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the same guy. That's funny. So it's only 4, right? There's number 4, and then he's 4. So now he only has to roll against a 2 though, because remember these other than the direct hit, the warp core breach, everything else is only 2 attack dice. So they're like minor. They're like not as severe. So okay, so he only has to resolve against 1. He still could die though. He still rolls his 4 defense dice. And nope, he lived. This time he lived. See how that works? I think it's going to be pretty interesting, pretty cool. And there's something else I have to tell you too. Hold on. Put this back where I got it. Console fire. The way it works, like the captain, he's not going to be in the what you call it, in the death pool until everybody dies. And then he'll go up against his weapon upgrade. So this weapon upgrade is 5. Captain Kirk is a 6. So automatically the weapon gets taken out first. Then once the weapon gets taken out, then it will go after Captain Kirk. And then he has to resolve it no matter what every time, because now there's no crew left and there's no weapons to get damaged. Okay, the elite talents don't matter. They die with the captain. And, you know, obviously, he's going to get to roll a 6 because he's really valuable. Now, over here, some of these guys are not as valuable. Like, for example, I'm going to go with Captain Koloth. These guys don't have a crew, so they have to resolve against themselves. So it would just be like, for example, a direct hit number of 13. You'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now he has to resolve against well, actually, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. His weapon upgrade is even, so that's why he's going up against it. If his weapon upgrade was higher than him, like I'll give you that example for a second, he would have to resolve it first because that weapon upgrade does him. So basically, the captain can die, and then the ship can be floating along, and then you can steal that. You can steal that card when you dock it or whatever. It's basically a ship that's still alive, but has no crew, has no captain. So that's how that works. But when it's even or low, well, when it's lower, he doesn't have to go up against it. But if it's even or higher, he has to. So he still has a chance. Or I said that backwards. I'm sorry. I said that backwards. When it's even, he has to go up against himself, okay? Which actually, that just may have brought me up to, No, we're fine, We'll keep that. So, with weapon upgrades, since they can be stolen, I mean, I could change that rule too, but you know what? Let's just do this. No matter what, he's got to go up against it. Because it was with the crew had to go up against it, so he has to go against it too. So once the crew dies off, and the weapon upgrade, or if the weapon upgrade gets taken away or gets destroyed, damaged, because it can't get damaged, right? Then it's just even, no matter what. Even if he's lower than that number, it doesn't matter. So it makes sense. That actually makes more sense. But the captain's basically protected by his crew dying first, and the weapon getting taken out first. Once the crew's gone, then he goes up against the weapon himself, okay? Which makes sense, right? If the crew is alive, it's the weapon against the crew. And there could be more than... So there's some ships that have more than one weapon upgrade, too. So, but the cool thing about the weapon upgrades... maybe tech upgrades, too. Because this is a... Yeah, it's a weapon upgrade. Anyways. So... What was I going to say? Yeah. So basically, I thought of something really kind of cool with this whole, crew member getting killed and stealing weapons and all that. So, I was having a little trouble figuring out, like, with Captain Koloth, let's say, and he's got the magnetic pulse weapon, right? Okay. Now, here's how it works. If the captain that's attacking the ship, or I mean, it could be. I would say whichever ship does the critical, okay. You're trying to destroy the ship ultimately, right? But if he draws a critical, let's say, right, and that's not a good one. That's injured captain. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that's injured captain. But let's say, actually, that could be a factor later, but let's say that he draws this munitions failure, okay? Immediately choose one of your upgrades and discard it. Then flip this card face up. That might matter too. Because then if he discards it, then he can't. God, that would be that kind of throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing. Because I actually read it. Okay, don't read this for a second. Well, damn, let me just grab... Alright, let's just do that. Okay. I'm just getting confused by that text. So what I was saying earlier was, I got confused, like, whether to go up against the weapon upgrade or the captain with the number. So for example, this damage sensor array number is 10. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So this thing would have to resolve the damage, okay? Now, the idea was if the value is equal, then they go against each other. Or if the value is higher, for in this case, over here with Captain Karel, he is less valuable than the torpedoes he sent. So he wouldn't go up against that because it's higher than him. Well, screw all that noise. We don't care about the value. They're always going to go up against each other if and only if the captain... So Captain Kirk is attacking Karel, let's say, right? No matter what, Captain Kirk sees the value of these photon torpedoes. And the captain's skill is lower. So he wants to kill this captain and take that... He basically wants a derelict ship in this case, okay? So he wants to kill him. So he's going to have to resolve it no matter what, because Captain Kirk's skill level it's higher than his. So basically, it's like he outsmarts him. Okay. Now, if it's a lower captain skill level, let's say this guy, right? Say this guy. I always forget his name. Ronnie Cox, I think, is the actor's name. So Ronnie Cox, he only has a captain skill of 1, right? Well, this guy has a captain. So you're only going to go up against the weapon upgrade because he's basically saying, "Screw this! I'm going to destroy this." So he's destroying it, right? So that the Federation can't get this weapon. But again, if Captain Kirk's here, he still wants to destroy this, but Captain Kirk basically outsmarts him. So if there's a critical attack like this damaged array, sensor array, okay, you don't have to count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if they were equal, equal or lower, then he would have to do the counting, okay? If that makes sense. So actually, no, we'll do it this way. If their captain skill is equal, then it's counted like that. If the captain skill is lower, then it goes only on the weapon upgrade or tech upgrade or whatever. Like if there's more than one weapon upgrade or tech upgrade, they would count amongst each other basically which one's getting destroyed. Okay. If, like I said, Captain Kirk, he's like, screw this, I want to freaking kill the captain. And then if there's 3 upgrades or tech upgrades, he can get them all for free. And if you're doing a campaign, that could be very valuable. Just devastatingly valuable. I mean, even though people might say that's bullcrap because the ship won't be able to carry that many weapons. If that's the case, then you would basically choose which one you want to use, I guess, and maybe give them to another ship. That'd be kind of neat if you could do that, because it's basically free loot. Or in your next campaign build or your next battle, if you already have a campaign, you could mark them somehow so they're like a free tech upgrade. Basically, the value would be 0 because they stole it from that previous battle. So I just want to clarify that. That makes a lot more sense than worrying about the values of these two and the values of the crew and all that bullshit. So basically, if you have a crew, they go from weapon upgrade, tech upgrade. They all count. Like just like I said on this, like you would have this, right? So you have a tech upgrade, weapon upgrade, and a crew. So there's only a weapon upgrade. So in this case, the crew's gone. There is no crew, right? So you would only go up against one or the other or both. So it's if the captain's lower, then the weapon upgrade resolves it. If the captain is higher, that's attacking, then only the captain. If it's equal, then you do the eeny miny moe thing. So I could do an example for you guys if you wanted, but I figured, you could figure it out. But again, if you don't want to play it that way, that's fine. Or if you're not gonna do a campaign, if you're just doing one battle, and you don't have to worry about it, you could just do the eeny miny moe thing, or just straight go after the captain and get the weapon upgrade just for the battle. It's up to you guys how you want to do it. But I just thought of that, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. That he's actually outsmarting him because he's a higher captain skill, and he wants to kill him, and then dock on the ship. And I didn't talk about docking on the ship, but basically docking on the ship would be pretty easy. You would basically, you could do one of two things. You could do, if you're within one range, then you can board the ship that way. Or if you want to actually hit the ship, like if you want to make it so that, like his last maneuver would the ship would kind of just drift along on that same maneuver, and if it goes off the board, then it's lost. Or it could run into somebody. That'd be kind of cool. Or it slows down over time, but that, I mean, it's up to you guys if that's too much to remember. But you would just go after the last maneuver dial. So say, I'll just leave it on this. Say he did a 4 before the captain got killed. You would just keep doing 4s, 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 or you could just do the dial. You could just count down the dial where you're like 4, 3, 2, and then 1. So he's going really slow. So it's gonna just keep drifting, right? Or you can just leave it in place, and like I said, just if you're one away, you just dock. That would be your action to steal this. So you couldn't do any other action. You would just say, hey, I'm gonna steal this freaking. I know it's not on here, like it's not on your ship card to steal stuff, but it would just be an action just like any other thing, like reloading your photon torpedoes or using your shields, reconfiguring your shields, just stuff like that. But it just makes it pretty cool that you could actually steal stuff. But the captain has to be dead. Like you can't damage the ship and then like go on there and steal the shit. The captain has to be killed. Now here's another scenario that I didn't really talk about. What if the captain dies and then the crew, it's just the crew left? Well, that's not going to happen because I just said you're going to resolve the crew first with the weapon upgrade and then the captain. Now, if you wanted to do something like that, you could, but you put the captain in the whole fray of everything. That would be easy to do. You wouldn't have to really count. You wouldn't have to go here. You would just count right down the line, like captain, weapon, and then all your crew. And then if the captain's number's up, his number's up. I think it would, it'd be a little more too complicated because the crew members aren't captains. And I mean, you could, like, for example, you could take, well, let's just say that Captain Koloff is the captain, and Karel, he would never be a crew member, but I'm just going to use him as an example. So, let's say it's like this, right? Okay, so he's a crew member, that's a tech thing. So if you're doing so if you drew a 3, or a 4, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, he rolls a 4, and then he gets a direct hit, and he doesn't resolve it, so then he dies, right? So you can flip it over like that. That would be kind of cool. That way you can still see, or just say, okay, that guy's dead. And then now you could do, okay, now he's the captain. I know it says captain, but say he's a crew. But you just won't have any, of the captain's skills there, You would just have whatever skill the crew member is. And he basically driving the ship. But the captain's level would go from 7 to down to a 4, so however you guys want to do it. I mean, I think it's better just to do it to where the captain can't die in the beginning until you figure it out. That just makes it that much easier, I guess, to figure out, maybe. But yeah. And then the crazy part is you could actually probably have a crew member be higher than the captain was. I mean, if you did that, that would be kind of neat. So then your captain skill would actually increase because your captain died. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, so that's all I gotta say. And this game, there's a lot of different variants you can do because it does have that RPG / deck building miniature style. So thanks for watching. Comment below. Thanks. Yeah, if there's a tech upgrade here too, then that's all into the count too. So sorry I haven't really hashed this out. I haven't tried it yet, but this part was the hardest part to figure out, and it actually does work. These little it could be house rules where like, hey, I don't want captains ever to be involved in that. Once they're gonna go down with the ship, however you want to say it. There's impossible for them to get killed if the ship's alive, but I think it's interesting. If the captain dies, the ship's just kind of a derelict floating around, and it could have no crew members because a crew member could take over, right? But it could have secret stuff on it that you want, But yeah, so anyway, that's that. I'll come back and I'll explain the next rule I want to do, which is actually pretty easy, and then I'll explain the third one. So thanks for watching. Welcome back, Attack Wing fans. If you went back to some of my previous videos about this shield, there was 2 different variants of the shield. And the second variant, I think, talked about the critical damage. Okay. Now the way I had done it before was if a critical came in, it actually damaged the shield by 2, like actually 2 hits. So it basically was the same as 2 hits coming in. Okay. And if you guys remember from the other videos, when one hit gets hit in the the shield node here, it actually gets absorbed by the shield with no damage, okay? So basically there's like a bubble. We were talking about the bubble many times. It's beefed up there. If it gets hit somewhere else, it would damage one or two of the shields, right? So in this scenario, with the two hits coming in like this is two solid hits, it would actually damage the shield because this one would get absorbed by the bubble, this one would get hit, and this would flip over, okay? So those would be gone. Now before, I had it so that one critical die would come in and just, you know, do the same thing as if you got hit with two. And that was very deadly because all you need now is one extra hit and you can get through, right? So I thought about this, and I did mention it in the comments, I believe, or I may have mentioned it in the video audibly. I think I did. As I was thinking that, hey, a critical hit shouldn't be two hits, because if you think about it, when there's no shields are completely down or whatever, this critical comes in and it actually does damage, right? You gotta do a damage card, but when you pull the damage card, you basically flip it over to resolve it, right? So you flip it over, and it may or may not be another hit. That's up to the critical, or that's up to the cards, what the card's saying. So it doesn't make sense to actually count these things as a two solid hit at all times, because like I said, when they hit, you have to resolve the card. Now, like I said, sometimes the card will make you draw another damage card, so that would be equal to 2. But there's only 4 of those direct hit cards in the whole deck of 33. So it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to reduce this hit down to 1.5. Now you're saying to yourself, what the heck? Why now I gotta do math? No, think about it. What's gonna happen here is if this is the only thing coming in as a 1.5, it doesn't damage the shield. It's still a 1, but the 0.5 is just in case you get 2 critical hits. So now it's worth 3 hits. See how that works? So the critical hits are still more valuable than the single hit. Okay, they're just not as devastating as they were to shields, because we went from possibly getting a direct hit when you hit the hull with the criticals, because in the other game the criticals are just equal to 1. So I didn't like that. I think they should be stronger than normal. So to me it's like, hey, let's make them 1.5. That way, if you let's just test it out. Let's do the old way first. So we're actually going to do the original rules, then we're going to do my other rules with the old way I had it, and then we're going to do the new one. Okay, so we're going to use this 3-hit scenario on all 3 of them. So we're going to do 2 criticals and a freaking a hit, right? Doesn't matter what order they come in, right? Because the evade, forget the evades. Say he had other stuff and he only evaded some stuff, but he didn't evade these. These hits are coming in no matter what. So the old rule says these come in, right? And with these 3 hits, 1, 2, 3, he only has 3 shields. 1 shield, 2 shield, 3 shield, no hull damage, right? So that's it. That's the old way. Pretty simple, right? My old way, or say new old way, or the new old way, I guess, or new norm, I don't know if you want to. Anyway, my way was this. If this came in like this, the critical counted as 2, right? So this shield is completely gone. Not completely gone, sorry. It's damaged, right? When that comes in. So it hit the bubble, it damaged the shield, and now that one's absorbed. The second critical comes in, takes the defensive screen down, and then damages the hull. So there's a hull hit. The third one comes in, and that's 2 hull hits from the old way. Basically, the original rules, no hull hits, right? My other way, 2-hole hits. Okay. Now the newest way we're gonna do this here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. So now it's gonna come in. This is only gonna count as 1. It's 1.5, right? But when they're together, it's 3. Okay, so it doesn't matter what volley they're, it's all the same volley, right? So by this thing itself, it's only 1.5. It wouldn't be able to get through this. But since there's another critical here, they multiply to 3. So now this is worth 3 hits instead of 4. So now let's do that. So this comes in, it will count to 3, right? So 1 absorbs the bubble, 2 flips over the defensive screen, 3 takes out the defensive screen, and then 1. So you only have 1 hole hit. Original rules, all shields down, no hole hits. My old rules, 2 hole hits. The new rules, 1 hole hit. So I just think that will be better. And we'll do another scenario real quick too. We're going to flip to one of these. Okay, we're gonna do that now. With the obviously with the original rules, it wouldn't matter. You'd still have no hole hits and 3 screens down, right? With the old rule, with my old rule, this would be 2, and this would take it. This would do the same thing. It would take this shield down, right? Then this would take out the defensive screen, and then this would actually hit the hull. With the new rule, with the new rule, this is only worth 1 now, or 1.5. It hits the bubble, gets absorbed. This one takes out the shield, and then this one just takes out the defensive screen, no hull hits. So it is a little bit less, but I think it just makes more sense. The more criticals obviously you roll, the multipliers are going to add up or multiply up. But remember, it's always, and now that counts also if you're rolling, and say you have a special captain or a special thing where you can change your battle stations to criticals, or that could be devastating, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's that. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was clear. And then my next rule is going to be a little bit more complicated than that. It's going to be also with the weapons and how it reacts with the shields. And it's going to be the difference between phasers, like phaser shots, and photon torpedoes in particular. Nothing else, just those 2, because I haven't figured out other weapons like the magnetic pulse. I don't know. I probably won't worry about that. But all right, here we go. Or I'll talk to you later. Like I said earlier, this is a little more complicated rule, and you guys can comment and say, hey, this is just too cumbersome, too many points of error or holes, I should say, in the story or whatever, in the way we do it. But basically, when you shoot a photon torpedo, let's say, okay, at this, say we're going to shoot at this, the Klingon here, the Groth is going to shoot at the tiny prize here, right? So the current configuration was this setup. So he would have a shield here on his card, right? This is the other part that I'm sure a lot of people won't like, because in order to do this, you have to take these shields off and put them around your ship to test this, right? You don't have to. If you're, I guess we could just do a judgment call, or if there's a dispute, we could do that. Like if you really want to measure, hey, is the photon torpedo and the phaser going to be a difference? And the whole point of this was, I want to do the photon torpedo was going to be more of a penetrating type weapon, to where it's going to get through the bubble like better than the phasers would. Okay, that's the only difference I was trying to do. So when you do this measurement, which I'll show you here in a second, you're gonna measure it with the stick in the up position. Okay, once you get the distance down. Okay, So you're going to be measuring the up position from the center of your ship to the center of the enemy ship, okay? And then you're going to look, and once we set this up, you'll see in a second here how this idea came about. It's going to be like this, just like the card shows. So say there's a dispute, like, hey, how much? Let's just say like 2 hits are coming in, right? No matter what, did their evade, whatever. So no matter what, 2 hits are coming in. So this is the photon torpedoes. They're more of a penetrating weapon, okay? So depending on how much coverage your shields have compared to the profile of your ship. So the angle matters here, which is kind of interesting. So basically you just take your ruler like this, and you would look down. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. You would look down and you would sweep to the side, okay? You're only going to sweep till you touch a shield or until you end the frame, okay? So in this case, you're going to go from the middle, sweep up. Okay, he hit a shield and he's still on the structure, right? So that means that shield is protecting the ship from this photon torpedo, right? Now, why does it matter? Well, because remember we said in the other ones that you want the shield in between the enemy and your ship, okay? So this is basically determining what shields are covering and what ones aren't. So this one back here isn't doing jack damn it for photon torpedoes now. That will change for phasers, but here we go. So this one here isn't doing anything. Okay. So now when we sweep this way, the ship is now not covered by this shield. Now had it been in a different configuration and the 2 shields were covering, the 2 shields would take the 2 damage, not the hull. But in this case, what's going to happen, okay, is now it could be in conjunction with the other rule, with the shield rule I have, or it could be its own thing. Let's just, for now, to keep it simple, we won't talk about another rule right now. We'll just talk about this. So it takes, obviously, so that this doesn't hit hull, you have to at least touch 2 shields, okay? So this shield right here is damage, so it takes this one out, right? And now the hull takes damage because the hull is not covered by the shield, so it basically penetrated through and actually damaged the hull. Okay? Now, with my other rule, with the rule of just projectiles in general or just weapons in general, the bubble would take it. The bubble would take that initial damage, so you would actually have to have 3. Okay? So let's just do this, okay? So you have to do 3, like that, okay? So in that case, the bubble would take the damage, right? But remember before what we said, when the bubble took the damage when it wasn't on the node, a shield would take a damage, right? So that's why I'm saying it complicates it. It kind of complicates my rules. So let's just do that. Let's say that the bubble got hit, so it took that out, right? And we'll say this shield got hit because this is the only one that's doing anything. So that took out that. This one would hit. Well, remember what we said about the defensive screens, but there's still a bubble around. But see, it gets complicated because my other rule is screwing everything up. So let's throw out my other rule for a second. Let's throw out the whole bubble rule. There is a bubble here, but forget that for now. We're gonna go straight shield, okay? So if there's 3 shots coming in on this angle, this shield takes the 1 damage. Then this one actually hits the hull, right? And then so does this one. So that could be pretty crazy. Like I said, I'm still learning. This one's gonna be a little more complicated. But it basically makes your weapons and your shield configuration matter, because let's do a phaser shot now. A phaser shot, you're going to place this way, so it's wider, okay? So the chances of this touching a shield before it actually gets... So the way it works is, you put it in the middle like before, and okay, you're going over this, and it's touching a shield now, right? So you could stop right there if you wanted to. But as you sweep back this way, it's touching a shield right there, and it's still covering the structure. So that's actually an advantage. So if you shoot a phaser shot, both those shields count as protection. Okay? This one's not doing anything. Okay? So that's the difference between the photon. The photon torpedo is more of a penetrating weapon, where the phasers are more of a spreading type weapon. That's why they have these different advantages. You know, you can roll another attack dice, or you roll another evade dice when you're far away, because they spread out, right? So in this scenario, the phasers would only damage the two shields, right? So two shields are down, and you still have your defensive screens up, but they wouldn't hurt the hull. Or excuse me, you get one hull shot, right? Because if you're hitting them with 3, okay. So there you go, that makes sense. But if you're doing the photon torpedoes, check this out. Photon torpedoes are penetrating, we said. So photon torpedoes, it's only going to hit this shield. It's going to damage that shield, and then you're going to get 2 hull hits, because it's not going to touch this shield, right? So yeah, that's that. So yeah, because you sweep, you're touching a shield before it gets away from the hull, and then here you end up breaking away from the hull before it touches the shield. See that? I don't know if you can see it, but so that just makes it different as far as, hey, do I want to shoot phasers at this jerk, or do I want to shoot, you know, photon torpedoes? And I was gonna make it to where like even the back shield could provide some protection from the phasers, but yeah, I guess that would make sense, but because like I said, there's still technically a bubble, so if you were to like, the only problem with that is when you're out of range, or once you're talking about the backside, it's harder to see, you know, what's protecting or what's not, you know what I mean? So not sure about that one. Like I said, it's a complicated rule. I don't know if I'll ever use it, or I may try it, but it does mess up my other bubble rule, which I think is better. I may try both of them. I don't think they could be put together. Obviously, you know, to each his own, I guess. But it does make an interesting scenario where it does change the way the photon torpedoes are in phaser, and they are different. They are different types of. One's a projectile type weapon, traveling very fast, and one is a phaser that only does the speed of light. That's why they can't use phasers in warp speed. They only can use photon torpedoes. But anyways, yeah. I think that's it, and let me know in the comments below what you think about the rule. If it's too complicated, too cumbersome, going to make the games last forever. Like I said, I haven't tested out those 3 that I mentioned. The second one would be the easiest one to test out with my new shield rule, just reducing the critical hits from 2 to 1.5. That would be the easiest one to test. I don't think the your numbers up one would be too hard to test either. There's a little bit of kinks that need to be worked out. It's not too complicated. It's kind of fun, I think, to have that death of your crew members or even your captains, and have a ship that's disabled with a weapon upgrade you could steal, you know. Or heck, that'd be even cool if you could board the ship and take the ship. like put one of your crew members on there and match their value to their captain skill or some crazy crap like that. That would be that'd be really badass. But anyways, I'll talk to you later and have a good day.